Okay, so today we're going to talk about the playing philosophy and attack. So, focusing again on back into the playing style a little bit in terms of what we're looking at, what we're looking to build towards. Okay,
We can't see your
so
screen yet, Jay.
what's that?
We can't see your screen yet.
I can't see my screen yet. Oh, is that better? See now?
Yeah, we can see it now.
Perfect. Okay, so we're working on the playing style, playing philosophy, and attack. Okay, so we're working on. We want to discuss the desired traits and tendencies of the Vale teams when in possession or transitioning to possession of the ball. We want to share ideas in terms of how to achieve that aim, and then provide a framework within the sessions can be built so that the player development planning can occur. Again, we want to reverse engineer the way that we think about player development. So we want to look at what our ideal circumstance would be, and then work backwards from there. And how do we layer on the next piece of building blocks? How do we layer on the building blocks below that, and so on and so forth, all the way down until we have the youngest age group. Base team shape. So team shape of a 4-3-3. Again, I've shown this in a different image in the past few sessions. However, again, same thing. The 1 is the goalkeeper. 2 is the right back, 3 is the left back, 4 and 5 are your center backs. Your holding midfielder is the 6. Your 8 is your box to box. Your wingers are your 7 and your 11. Your playmaker as the 10, and your target or your striker as the 9. And again, within this, we do have the flexibility to play a variety of different styles. So one of the things I went through and did for this week was we went through and shared and showed rather really the lines of connection. And one of the reasons we like the 4-3-3 so much is the number of angles and support. And I obviously don't have all the lines on here. However, there's a fair bit. Every player has 3 to 5 options per pass. There's a lot of stability defensively because, if you need to drop into a deeper shape, you have a 4-1-4-1 pretty naturally, or again, a 4-4-2. If you look at playing more of a 4-2-3-1, your 2 6s will hold, your 2 wide midfielders will drop and tuck in, and then you'll have your 9 and your 10 serving as your 2 up front. So you have the organization defensively, you have the structure, but in offense, again, the other side of the ball, we have 3 to 5 options for passing. We have the opportunity to create exchanges and interchanges in a few different areas on the field, particularly the wide spaces and the dangerous areas we like to create attacks from. And you have the numbers and the mobility within the team to get up the field and create some opportunities with numbers towards the opponent's goal. Again, the player movements. Again, these are not all the movements players make, but certainly many of the movements players make are relative to each other. A lot of these positional roles and responsibilities overlap, so you create the opportunity for the players to exchange and interchange positions. The 6. There's a couple different ways to attack out of this. One way is have the 6 protect the center backs, and allow the outside backs to release and get forward. Another way is if you have a double pivot, as Zach prefers to play the shape, then you have the ability to release one of those 2 midfielders and create a little bit more numbers in support of your forward line that way. So there's a lot of different opportunities to get forward. There's a lot of different ways that you can be creative in the way that your team builds the game in the 4-3-3 shape. So that's one of the reasons why we really, really enjoy it. The flexibility within the shape is one of the things that I really, really enjoy. This is an image that was shared to me when I was in Portugal a few years ago. And the idea behind it is that the spine of the team, so they refer to the team more as a tree. And that the trunk of the tree, which would be the goalkeeper to your striker, that includes your center back and your 6 as well, needs to be fairly stable and fairly firm, and has to be able to kind of withstand and weather the challenges of a game between your back 3, the 5, the 6, and the 4, being able to organize, repel the attack, and stop the opponent, but then also build the game for you when you build the game, when you have possession, and then find your target who needs to be able to hold on to the ball and help your players out of possession join in support. And then the branches of the tree, which represented by the numbers inside the 2 triangles on either side, can kind of a blow in the breeze and go with the storm, so to speak. And so again, it's not uncommon to see your outside back, your 3, overlap the 11 and create an overload on that side. But one of the other things that they did over there in Portugal that I really enjoy, and I've tried to use with the teams that we have, when you have the players that are capable of recognizing the role, is to utilize the two attacking center midfielders in that triangle as a way of exchanging and interchanging. Can you tuck your 7 in and let your 10 do an overlapping run out wide or from midfield? Will one of them drop back and cover the 2 because they've taken off down the right-hand side in order to provide support and attack? So those interchanges, I know we typically talk about the 2 interchanges in here with the outside players, but I wanted to really encourage everybody as we start to develop the players to have a little bit more willingness to encourage all 3 of those players to get involved in the overlap, in the attacking and the interchanging movements in possession. All of this that we're talking about pertains really to a building style of play, a building out style of play, as opposed to playing more direct. Again, one of the things we talk about within our team with our playing philosophy is the desire to have possession and be able to control the game through possession when possible. So a build out philosophy is really more of the preferred method. But within that, obviously building out means a lot of different things. You know, it doesn't mean just play the next pass. It doesn't mean play through the team one at a time. We can certainly build by playing in, skipping a line, playing back, skipping a line again, things like that. Sometimes it is possible to go straight from back to front if you need to, or if the opportunity presents itself. Looking at it functionally, so just a couple different ways that we can, use the system to help us to break teams down. So again, we talk about, winning possession in midfield or building through to the midfield block, the holding midfielders on the ball, looking to find an outside back wide, looking to find the target higher so that they're presenting to hold on to possession for us, releasing players to get in beyond the ball, having a layoff. And then again, if you hit that outside, that third man runner, or even the outside midfielder into this space here, now you're looking at service with at least 2 or 3 runners into the box. So there's an opportunity there to create. There's an opportunity there to get numbers forward and to play off of that central pivot up front as an opportunity to build the game. The role of the 6 and sometimes the 8, if you're playing with a bit of a double pivot, really is the idea of changing the point of attack, dominate possession through your midfielders. I tend to change the point of attack through either the 6 or the 2 center backs. I know Zach tends to do so through the 6 through his double pivot. And some even change the point of attack off of the striker depending upon the opportunity that presents itself in the game. So there's a lot of different ways to do it. But again, within what we're teaching, typically we're looking to use the 6 and those central midfielders as your pivot point to get from one side to the other. And again, using the players on the wing to release them into the spaces in advance of the ball to create numbers in the attacking half of the field. Again, the other option you have in there is looking at your center midfielders driving at space. Okay, so what we have here in this example is you find the 8 after a couple passes, find the 8 with some space in front of them. They're able to drive from preparation into the creation zones on the field, into the creation phase on the field, and then look to play that pass into the final phase to any of the moving parts off of the ball. One of the things that futsal is a great teacher of is using that first touch to break pressure, using the dribble to unbalance an opponent and unbalance the defense. And if we get better at it inside, we should be working to recognize how it translates to the outdoor game in our bigger numbers. And it's not just the only place it happens. It certainly happens out wide, but this is one of the ways that our midfielders can be more creative to unlock an opposing defense if we can get them on the ball and get them with the confidence to beat a player one-on-one, take some space, and then look to create from there. And then finally out wide, and this is really where we do most of our attacking, I think, across the teams of the club, is to exploit space out wide to create the overload with the overlapping outside back, whether that's through a dribble on a dribble cutting inside, or whether that's through some combination of the 7, the 10, and the 9. But we find those spaces out wide. We deliver the ball into the finish zone, in the finish phase, excuse me, and then we're looking for 3 or 4 movements into the box. We're looking to frame the goal, runners near post, far post, and then somewhere into the second 6, which is what I classify the space between the penalty spot and the 6-yard box, and then have somebody again framing the box where we're able to put the ball back into for a shot, put the ball back out wide for another service, and we recycle the runs, move the ball into a new space, or maybe it's just pull it back out, restart possession, open space up, and attack in behind. And then finally, we talk about the functional example in moments of transition. So again, from this shape, we're in a good defensive position. The 6 has been able to intercept, and now because we have the movements and the players ahead of the ball in the positions and in the shape that we're looking to play, we're able to find that option, whether it's a direct ball in, whether it's a service down the flank, whether it's a big switch on the opposite side. So again, we have the ability to step in, win the ball. Again, the option that I didn't include here is also to potentially drive into the space, right? So we have the opportunity for the 6 to win, drive into the space, and then slip a pass, or look to play an immediate counterattack into the channels for either the 7 or the 11, based upon what we do. And in transition, again, the importance of having a target to be able to find early and eliminate lines of the opponent's organization is really critical. But then also having the wide options as well, we can exploit the spaces behind the outside backs if they've pushed on a little higher, and or create numbers for runners in the box. So if I'm finding the 11, the 7 being higher up the field means they're more available to get into the box for service early. Same thing with the 9 peeling off, and then hopefully you can have players joining from the back of the team, again, in transitional moments. So let's chat. That was kind of the basics of it, and love to start a little bit of a conversation discussion on pros, cons, things that you like, and go on from there.
Guys, our thought too was if you want to go back to a specific slide and talk about that, we can. For me, I think what's valuable for us as coaches in the flow, in the context of these conversations, is to be thinking about how we build sessions that will magnify and replicate areas and opportunities on the field that we want to teach, right? And so, the reason that Jeremy built it that way is when you think about progressions inside of your training, specifically getting to positional play type of activities, you want to be thinking about the replication of concepts, right? And that's a really good indicator. Transition, key areas of the field, key moments in the game that you can replicate inside of your environment. So
I went back to this slide for that reason, actually, so as you started mentioning it, Zach, but yeah, so we all have opportunities in our training session where we want to build finishing exercises, or we want to build sessions that are going to lead us to goal. And one of the easiest ways to do that is, in the final third of the field, create a little bit of a rondo or something that releases players out wide. And then once the ball is delivered to the wide channel, now you get to rehearse the movements of the players. They might have been in the rondo here, but now they're released into the box, looking to get at the back post, looking to have opportunities to attack the service and score. And again, it's something that is a very practical example based on, what you're going to see in a game, what you're looking to create in a game, but it's also relevant to the way that we want to play as a club anyway.